or comments? Yeah, good to see you.
Hi, the air conditioner and the hot pot, aren't those the characters?
Yes, the air conditioner is the character, the power of cooling is the soul, and the electricity is Hashem, in the metaphor. Yeah, what's your name? Soul, what's your stage name? Yes, Sarah. It's a good stage name. Yes.
The thing that I thought was missing, and is a bit, not missing, but I'm not Freudian in that respect, but I think the ego encompasses so much of our self that it gets in the way of many of those things that you talked about.
Right.
It's so powerful that we define ourselves by all these bad, ego-centric type of behaviors.
Exactly. So I'm glad you brought that up. Ego stands for editing God out. Okay? That's EGO, editing God out. Because ego is when a person gets trapped in their character and starts to think, I am Rabbi David Aaron, and David Aaron is who I am. And all I have to do is I gotta take care of David Aaron. And I gotta make sure everybody knows who David Aaron is. Because it's all about David Aaron. It's all about me, 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 me. It's not about me, me, me. It's about our self. Not myself, not yourself, not the collection of ourselves, but the one self, right? The one self that we're all flowing from, right? So yes, that's the problem. Ego convinces us that I'm self-contained, self-sufficient, independent. These are my powers. This is my strength, right? Kochi ve'otzim yati. It's my power. It's my strength that has given me this ability to succeed. As soon as you surrender, as soon as you genuinely know, these are not my powers, more power to you, right? The first step to empowerment is surrender. Right? But as long as I think this is my ability to speak, and this is mine, yesh, that's the concept of bittul yesh. You nullify that sense that this is mine. Right? It's all mine. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. What else would you like to ask or comment? Yeah, Soul, tell everybody your stage name.
Asher.
Yes.
So, how do you...
That's a famous stage name, you know that. Yeah, okay. You should be a rock star. Okay.
How do you distinguish between the gifts you're given to do what you do best, speaking in public and being a rabbi, versus improving on the character traits that you're not so good at, that you think you'd like to, meaning, where does that come in? The personal development area where you're weak, and maybe it's just a waste of time, maybe you just focus on what you're good at.
No. No. You have, okay, the question is, well, what about the areas in your life that you should work on and improve on? Maybe you should just do what you're good at. No, that's why you have a Yetzer Hara. Your Yetzer Hara actually points the most to your purpose. Because your purpose is to choose something. To do when it comes natural is good, but it's only part. What you really need to focus on is what you're not so good at. But what does it mean not so good at, right? Maybe a person doesn't have such a great sense of humor. There's no halacha, there's no mitzvah, thou shalt be funny, right? So if you're not funny, you're not funny. So you feel like being funny, fine, but you probably won't be funny. It's not what you came to this world to do, right? But very much what you've come to this world to do is very much your Yetzer Hara will tell you what to do. We don't understand people's Yetzer Hara. Some people, they have a Yetzer Hara for fame, and some people have a Yetzer Hara for money, and that's what you have to work on. Because that's when you really choose to show that we are all part of oneself. It's precisely where you're challenged in your ability to recognize that we're all part of oneself. I mean, what does unconditional love need in order to succeed? Conditions against your love, right? If all the conditions were in favor of your love, when would you have a chance to demonstrate and exercise unconditional love? Like one night I was sitting with my wife, and I turned to my wife, I said, Sarah, why do you love me? She says, my name's Hannah. I said, okay. I'm confused with my other wife. Okay, but why do you love me? She said, why do you assume that? I said, okay, enough of the jokes. Why do you love me? She said, I have no reason to love you. What? You have no reason to love me? What are you talking about? How can you say that? Can't you find one reason to love me? She says, not only do I have no reason to love you, you wouldn't even want me to have a reason to love you. I said, no, I really would. I really would like you to have, no. She said, because if I had a reason to love you, then it would be the reason I love, and not you. And if that reason at any point were no longer relevant, I wouldn't love you anymore, would I? Right? I love you even when you give me good reasons not to. I give her a lot of good reasons not to. Right? But that's real love. That's real love. So that's your Yitzhahara. It's like to really bring one's soul, one's self-conscious, to really bring love into the world, you know? Then you have to understand it's precisely where love is challenged, is where love becomes manifest in its most powerful way. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think when they're having problems in their marriage, that's a problem with their marriage. I don't think a marriage that doesn't have problems is such a deep marriage, right? Two people that are really close, the closer you get to somebody, the more you step on their toes, because you're close. But the problems is the opportunity to get even deeper and feel more connected and transcend that, to get to a much more profound sense of connectivity. So the problems are really important, and working on your character traits are very important, right? But don't try and get a character you don't have, right? If you don't need it, right? But if you have a mitzvah of hachnasas working, well then you need to work on being hospitable, because you have a mitzvah. And so the mitzvahs are telling us what we need to work on, but there's lots of things that people are working on. There's no mitzvah to do that. So work on something that you need to work on, not you just feel like working on. Any more questions? Yeah, so tell everybody your stage name.
Avi, if I may kind of paraphrase what you said in terms of things that have been said that probably you're referring to also. Sometimes people think like, oh, why was I given this life? Why do I have this flaw? Why are these things? Why do I have this burden? But really what's actually happening is there's only God, there's only Hashem. Hashem wants to, so to speak, fix. There's things that need fixing. So God creates the physical universe and radiates out souls, so to speak. And the souls choose, so to speak, something that needs fixing. And they say, okay, I volunteer. I'm going to go into the physical universe in the guise of a human being, and I'm going to fix this thing. When you're caught, as you say, in your character, then you think, oh, I have this problem. It's not fair. It's not it at all. You volunteer to fix this problem of the universe that God has, so to speak, needs fixing, and you are volunteering to fix it. The second part is that people sometimes think, my goal, my purpose here in the universe is to become a teacher, so that I will teach such and such, or I'm going to be a carpenter, or I'm going to build homes for people, which is true to some degree. But the bottom line, when the person is wise, they realize that the things that need fixing are inside themselves, so to speak. And somehow, that which they are doing in the outside world, whether it's a musician or a carpenter or a speaker, whatever it is part of the mechanism, it's part of what they have to do, but the main task in the end is fixing things inside themselves. And so it's a combination of those two things. A person feels, why am I so broken? Why do I have all these flaws? Why do I have all... The answer is because there were these flaws in the universe that are not just music needed to be created or a building needed to be built. There were flaws that translated in this universe turn out to be psychological flaws. Those were the cosmic flaws that God created the universe to fix. And the soul, that is kind of your character, took on this personality in order to be able to fix this broken essence that manifests in this physical world as a personality flaw of the character that your soul has.
All right, well, that was a lot there, and some of it could be misunderstood by a lot of people. So I don't want to go there right now, that God has something that he needs fixed. What would that mean, that God would need something fixed? Although what I do want to qualify is the Leshem explains that al pi Kabbalah, according to Kabbalah, before you came to this world, you were shown the script. You were shown all the episodes. And you were asked, do you want to play this character? And you said, yes, I want to. And then you were born and then just complained. well, how come, why do I have parents like this? Why do I have this problem, that problem? So imagine you're an actor and you're really excited about it. I remember, one of my students was an actor by the name of Kirk Douglas, just turned 100 a little while ago. And he told me that he was always getting these parts as a bad guy or a criminal or a tough guy. And he wanted, as an actor, to play any part. He heard that Vincent van Gogh, the Lust for Life movie, was looking for Vincent van Gogh. And he said, I want to play that part. It was so out of character for him, a struggling, sensitive artist. And so he got the job, right? He got the job. And he was so excited about that. And then his good friend John Wayne called him up. Kirk told me the story and said, Kirk, is this true? You took a sissy part like Vincent van Gogh? What's a cowboy like you taking a sissy part like that? And Kirk said to John Wayne, he said, John, we're not cowboys. We're actors, John. And he said that John wasn't such a great actor because he became a cowboy and could only play a cowboy. But imagine that Kirk gets Vincent van Gogh. And then he forgets that he's Kirk Douglas. And then he gets lost in Vincent van Gogh. And he's so angry. Why is my life so difficult? Why am I this poor artist? And why am I cutting my ear off? Why am I going through all this? And then somebody says, hey, Kirk, you wanted to play this role. You knew you could do such a great job at this role. And so that's the Leshem says that we actually said yes. And I wanted to play that role. But now I have to ask myself, okay, so how do I serve with this role to bring my soul and the soul of souls into the world? Right? Yeah, Soul, what's your stage name?
P. Yiddy. That's actually my stage name, but I go by Zeb.
Okay.
It's a rap joke.
Okay, I got it, yeah.
Okay, so you were talking about this process of connectivity, connection to Hashem, and it sounds like the goal is this flow that psychologists often talk about, where your ego and your sense, any kind of sort of inhibiting external, extrinsic, conscious, analytical self sort of drops away, and who you really are can shine through like the ray of light, or flow through that makes you like a tzinor, right, for all of this godly light and shefa, etc. And so that's how you connect to the world, and you're basically, there's nothing left of you but this connection. You are the connection, right? So that, it seems like really the goal, or at least the requisite to that goal, would be self-nullification, and that it's part of the result, but it's also, I think, part of what you need to do in order to get there, is that you need to somehow figure out a way to get rid of that part of you that gives you all the negative or incorrect, distorted messages. So obviously a part of that is focusing on the positive, that which you do need to do, but there also needs to be, like the John pointed out, there needs to be some way to get rid of all of that, all of the dross, all of the what do you call it?
I don't completely agree with flow about getting rid of the analytical mind, because there are people sitting in yeshiva all day long doing analytical things. But I don't want to go there right now, but I also don't want to give a whole other class additional to this, but maybe we should, because the question is, it's really about the choice. And that part is the biggest part of the story, but we don't have enough time to go into it. But we are here to choose love, not to just love, to choose love. Our Yetzer Hara, our self-sabotaging, energy, whatever words we use, our Yetzer Hara is our greatest asset in so many ways. Because without it, we couldn't choose to love. And if you don't choose to love, then love is very natural, but it's not this unconditional love. It's to choose to love when you don't feel like loving. It's to choose goodness when you don't feel like being good. It's to choose to be kind when you really don't feel like it. But that's the most powerful affirmation that we're one. Because even when I don't feel like being at one with you, I'm going to choose to be at one with you, and then I reveal something very profound. So the choice here, the ubacharta b'chayim, choosing life, Jewish life is about making choices, right? And our Yetzer Hara put those choices in our face, you know, and that's what we have to work on, is to make those choices. So that's a piece that I think is really super, super key to all this, is that to serve Hashem is ultimately a choice that you have to make. You know, it's actually a Gemara in the Yerushalmi that says that as soon as you get a mitzvah, you get a Yetzer Hara that comes with it to tell you not to do it. It sounds ridiculous. Like, you give me a mitzvah and then you give me a Yetzer Hara not to do it. But the answer is, the goal is to do it from a place of choice, not just naturally, but to choose to even when you don't feel like it. And that's love. You know, the deepest level of love is to show love to people you don't feel like loving, but you choose to do it anyways. Yeah, Sol, tell everybody your stage name.
Anders. I have a question about names, actually. Is the Hebrew name the name of the soul self, or is the Hebrew name the name of the me self?
Me.
It's just the me.
Yes. The question is, who were you before you were Anders? The I am before you say I am Anders. That I am is neshama. And then neshama says I am Anders. I am a healer. I am, you know, and you just, but those are more and more layers of the envelope or the garb that you're wearing, right? But the I am before I say I am David Aaron, right? That's going to your neshama.
Is there something about, you know, when they say doing tshuva, the Rambam talks about changing your name, like actually.
Yeah, because you got lost in this character.
Right, like
And you're allowing this character that by taking a different name, you can kind of step away a little bit. You see, the problem is that as a neshama, you have to step away from your character to take and give direction to your character. For instance, it's not a good thing to say, I'm angry. Because then you become anger. If you're angry, then how are you ever going to not be angry? It is healthier to speak a soul language and say, I feel angry. And therefore, there's a little bit of a distance there, right? Or to say, I'm depressed. Don't say, I'm depressed, because then you become depression. Say, I feel depressed. Okay, there's I, and I'm looking at that feeling, right? And, you know, and you could give the depression a name. You know, depressed, whatever. You know, David, whatever name you give it, but try to get a little bit outside of it so that it doesn't control you. Or never say, I'm wrong, because you are not wrong. Souls are okay. You can say, I was wrong in my thinking. But the reason why, and that's why I think Gemara is such an incredible soul therapy, because people are actually sitting there arguing. You know, and one says it means this, and the other one says it means that, and now your ego starts saying, uh-oh, I think I might be wrong. You're never wrong. It was just a wrong thought. So let go of it. Don't become stuck in your thought. You're not your thought. You're a neshama that had that thought. You let go of that thought. That's why it's incredibly humbling when you're learning text with somebody and they have a commentary on it, you have a different interpretation, and you argue it, and you really start holding on for dear life to your interpretation when you start to see that you're actually wrong. And you're afraid that you're going to end up realizing you're wrong. But you can't be wrong. Neshamas are not wrong, right? It was just a wrong way to think. And now you should be happy that you have a better way to think. Arnold Schwarzenegger once said something very profound. Like, only once. No, I'm sure he said more profound things than that. He said, why did I become Mr. Universe 5 times? He said, the other weight trainers were afraid to be critiqued. I was afraid not to be critiqued. Because I knew that if they could show me what I'm doing wrong, I could do it better. But that's the difference. They were afraid that someone's going to say they're wrong. And he was, I'm not wrong. I'm just doing it wrong, right? Just tell me a different way to do it, and I'll do it. Don't get stuck. A lot of people are stuck. That's why you gotta learn to speak a language of neshama, right? And take a little step away from the character. Just get a little break, from the character. Anyways, I want to thank you very much. Just a very quick, okay, one second, I'm just going to do a quick commercial. I'm not my commercial. Right. But anyways, if you're interested in hearing more of this kind of stuff, then I have a website called rabbidavidaaron.com. How egotistic. Right, rabbidavidaaron.com. And I've got lots of material up there, as well as I'm very active on Facebook. And if you want, we could put a piece of paper back there. If you're interested in getting my regular emails, then every week I put out, I'm now produce animations, short animations that illustrate these ideas. I do podcasts. I have a radio show called Soul Talk on Israel News Talk Radio. And I put out articles. I've written 8 books. I brought one book, which is called Soul Powered Prayers, which is about finding meaning in the Shemona Esrei and the 18 benedictions. And so if you're interested in that, it's back there, called Soul Powered Prayers. I have other books, but I didn't want to schlep them. So my character wasn't interested in schlepping them in heat. But my soul said you should do it, but my character said no. So anyways, so if you're interested, you can go to bookstores and find them there. And if you have any more questions, then I'm going to be staying here because my wife said I can't come home tonight because she has no reasons to hate me, but she has no reasons to let me back in. No, I'm just joking. So again, thank you so much, and YIBONEH, and thank you so much. Continue to grow and flow and celebrate your lives. Shalom, shalom.
Yeah.